Welcome, everybody. You're on the podcast Party Like a Rockstar, and I'm your host, Joel Miller. Today's episode is brought to you by Misha's Kind Foods. They're an LA-based small business making the world's finest non-dairy cheese spreads on the market today. They're delicious and healthy, made from a cashew and almond milk, and blended with various locally sourced fresh herbs, vegetables, and spices. There's no vegetable oil, soy, fillers, starches, or nutritional yeast. It's lactose-free, paleo, keto, kosher Parev, and 100% vegan. Be kind to the planet. Be kind to the planet. Be kind to the trying to go quick. Be kind to the planet, animals, and your body. And we're also brought to you by HollywoodSauce.com, bringing you the very best in hot sauces, barbecue sauces, salsas, marinades, and other fiery foods. My guest today is keyboardist and musical director Kenneth Crouch. He's worked with such artists as Lenny Kravitz, Eric Clapton, Destiny's Child, Lauryn Hill, Brandy, Marc Anthony, The Temptations, Babyface, Toni Braxton, Nancy Wilson, and Vanessa Williams. His uncle was the gospel singer Andre Crouch. If you don't know who Andre Crouch was, he won 7 Grammy Awards and has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. My surprise guest is his buddy, Trevor Lawrence Jr. Trevor also comes from a musical legacy. Trevor's mother, Linda Lawrence, was a member of the Supremes and Stevie Wonder's Wonderland Band. His grandfather, Ira Tucker, was the lead singer of the Dixie Hummingbirds and was one of the forefathers of gospel music. He won a Grammy in 1974. His aunt, Sundre Tucker, sang with many artists, including Stevie Wonder and Patti LaBelle, and his father, Trevor Lawrence Sr., a saxophonist, has played with the Rolling Stones, Etta James, the Pointer Sisters, Marvin Gaye, B.B. King, and Ringo Starr, just to name a few. Trevor began playing drums at the age of 2. He waited a few years, but before long, he was recording music with Dr. Dre, Macy Gray, Boys to Men, Ashanti, Stevie Wonder, Lionel Richie, and Snoop Dogg. Again, just to name a few. So now that I got you guys together, how do you know each other?
Well, Trevor has his, I can't see him. I guess he didn't put his thing on.
I'm driving, man. I'm driving.
Oh, okay. What's up, Tiemeyer?
Yeah. What's up, man? Nancy Wilson? Oh, man. Whoa. I didn't know that. I'm learning new stuff all the time.
Oh, boy. I'll tell you, man, you're hilarious. Yeah. Actually, that was funny because it was a song that I produced with with Randy Jackson. So me and Randy produced this thing, and it was a song that Cherie Ford Payne wrote. So anyway, she wrote that, and we produced it, and so so the rest is, I guess, history, as they call it.
There you go. Lucky Nancy. So I assume you guys have known each other since childhood?
Well, not since childhood, but a lot. Go ahead, T.
Well, no, the age difference is a little different. So he's known me since I was real young. I've known Kenneth since I was like a teenager, basically. You know what I'm saying? So basically since my childhood, that's true.
Well, teenager, So you guys, though, like, did you meet because your parent? I mean, I see Stevie Wonder. It's like all over the place. Is that coincidental, or did you guys meet because of Stevie? Or
we didn't meet because of that. We met We just met in L.A. Do you remember how we actually first met, Kenneth? I don't remember.
Man, you know what I think it might have been? I think, dude, watch this. You know who I think introduced this? Dude, you're gonna trip. I think Donald Tavier introduced us, man.
Oh, man, rest in peace. Yeah, man, rest in peace. Yeah, that was a guy that used to play in a band called Lakeside, and he used to work at my dad's studio, although he told everybody he co-owned it, but he used to work there.
Exactly.
And he's since passed on, man, but that's probably is how we met, bro, because it would have been around that time, which was the early 90s, like early 90s. Yeah, early 90s.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Because I used to come over there and do sessions with him, and then I met you there. That's where it was.
Yeah, so that was a studio that was called Blue Palm, and now it's called now it's owned by Atlantic Records, but it was called Blue Palm back then.
Wow. And I'm trying to remember that. I'm trying to remember there's a guy, there's another guy that did some stuff there too. I'm trying to think of Dominique. That was a guy's name. God,
oh yeah, you talking about you mean Khalid Glover?
Was it?
No,
it
no,
might
not
have been. No, it wasn't Khalid Glover. I remember the guy had this song called the Eclectic Cafe. Remember that restaurant? He had a tune called Eclectic Cafe.
Oh yeah, I don't remember. I remember the restaurant. I used to love that food, but I definitely don't remember the song named after.
Well, that kind of lets you know right there how great a song it was.
That's a classic. Hey, that's funny, bro. Yeah, so it's about the 90s, man.
I thought you guys were going to be like, well, Stevie Wonder introduced us because we're the two greatest living musicians in his life or something. But your story's like, we just met one day hanging out.
Yeah, you know.
I mean, that's just how it is most of the time, man. I mean, I know you write books, so that's theater of the mind, but it's not always as glamorous as it seems.
I was talking to somebody once, and it was along the lines of, how many people in your life have you met in a bar that had a big impact on your life? And I spent a lot of time in bars because I like to drink beers. And you know what the answer is? It's zero. You meet people just randomly. You just meet them because you're just hanging out somewhere. And yeah. It was funny.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree, man. It's been the weirdest things. And, you might meet somebody or see somebody, and then you see him somewhere else, like even on the other side of the world, man. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You might see a cat in traffic, and then one day you like, was that the guy that was driving on the 101 and you like in Paris? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's crazy, dude.
I got my eyes repaired, and before I had them repaired, I thought I knew everybody. Everybody was like a buddy. And then I'd walk up to them, they'd be like, I have no idea who you are. And it would happen all the time. When I got my eyes fixed, I knew a lot less people. I had a lot less friends.
Hilarious. Yeah.
That's totally
That's
true.
funny,
So my biggest question for both of you guys is, coming from like very strong musical backgrounds, why did you pick the instruments that you play, that you excel at rather? Because I assume you both play a little bit of a few things, but why'd you pick the piano? Why'd you pick the drums?
Kenneth, go ahead. You got it.
By the way, thanks for picking them, because you're really good at. You guys are really good. Just to throw that, just to make your ego a little bit bigger before we begin. But yeah, why?
You know what? It was crazy. Like, my uncle, was a well-renowned pianist, and so his father, my granddad, was a preacher at the church, and so long story short, I think there was somebody who loaned my parents a piano for years. We had a white Wurlitzer spinet piano, and I think my parents asked me, they said, look, somebody's going to give us a piano. I said, do you want to play the piano? It's like, yeah, okay, and I wasn't like super motivated to or not to, to do it, but I just gave it a try. And the funny thing about it is like, and it's kind of like how I learned then is kind of like how I've always sort of learned. So it's like, I didn't quite catch it like for a long time. And like for about a year, I just wasn't catching on, but my mom luckily was really encouraging. And like, I was like, I've been playing for about almost a year. And my piano teacher told my mother, she was like, look, give him another month. And if he doesn't really catch on, maybe give him art lessons or something like that. And I just thought that was interesting. And then my mother never told me. And then somehow within that month, it just all clicked. Like it all just like click. And so like playing the piano for me, it's just been a natural evolution of like life for me. So it's not like I set out to do it, but I just couldn't imagine not doing it. So yeah, that's kind of what it was. So and then I had like the left brain, right brain thing.
How old though? How old were you?
I think I was about 7, I guess, something like that.
Yeah, you're little. Okay.
Yeah. My brother, honestly, between the two of us, he was definitely and is the more natural musician. I mean, he was like 2 and 3 years old, setting up like his Quaker oatmeal boxes and CNC toys, and he was like playing drums, and so that he was a real natural at that. Whereas for me, it took a while for me to kind of develop into that, but once I did, then I kind of caught on.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, Trevor, but I mean, what's amazing for me listening to your music is you are the most distinct piano player. I think now I will know you're playing. I know it's you. You made your own mark. I mean, you played a different way.
Yeah. I think you're talking to me, met Kenneth. I got you, though. Yeah.
Oh, what did I say?
You said Trevor.
I think.
Oh no, I said correct me if I'm
think,
wrong, Trevor. I was wondering if Trevor thought the same thing because.
Sorry,
guys. Yeah, sorry. So no, I was saying, you know, the way I hear, because I was listening to your albums and stuff, and then you played when I met you the other day, and I mean, you have an incredibly distinct way of playing. It's you. The piano is genuinely an extension of you. It was so awesome to watch. It was really neat, man.
Well, thank. You know what? I really appreciate that compliment, and I think that there's 2 types of musicians. I think that there's a kind of musician that's sort of like the jack of all trade types, and then I think there's the other type of musician who is really trying to let their personality really like shine through it and be identifiable. And like for me, that's not for me to say that I have an identifiable sound, but when I hear you say that, that lets me know that I guess I'm kind of pushing towards the right way. You know, I'm just doing my best to do my best and to listen to music and to be intelligent and to be receptive to what the music and my comrades who I'm playing with, to really interplay with all of us together. And I could say for years, man, it was crazy. Like Trevor and I, we played together. We did a thing once a week for, God, how long was that, Trev? Like 3-4 years, something like that?
Yeah, at least I would say 4. I would say more on the 4 side.
You know what?
Like
you
close
might be
to
right.
4 for sure.
Yeah.
Close to 4 for sure.
Yeah. And so like we had a chance to not only like we did some stuff in the studio and stuff together, but it's another thing when you play with guys and it's like being like Bulls or the Lakers. It's one thing to be like individual cats, but when you're part of a team and part of a unit, and you can feel like Trevor can play something and it can guide me a certain way. Like everybody, I think, has the power. Like when we were playing, it's like me, Trevor, Byron Miller, and Daryl Crooks. And I think that each of us individually and collectively have the magic of kind of helping to guide something. But it was never like, okay, well, it's just me. It was never that. It's like the magic of it is the collective. Would you agree with that, T?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what it always is when you play with other people on stage. You have to take your ego out of the equation, or else you know the music is not as good as it could be. You know what I mean? It's not the level that it can be when you're playing for yourself, as opposed to see what happens when everybody's thing turns into one sound. It's a very long journey to try to get there. That's the journey.
That's why the monitor engineer's job's tough. Because I can't hear it. Can you turn it up? Can you turn it up? So, all right. So, and Trevor, why'd you start playing the drums? What was 2 years old?
Mine is pretty simple. It's pretty simple. My mom was a singer. She wanted to be a drummer, and her parents was like, nope. So she was a singer. So when she had a kid, she got pregnant. She said, I wish I had a son that played drums, and it happened.
Wow. You're a mama? Are you a mama's boy?
That's the easy one. Well, I mean, I love my mom. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
See, I'm a
I
total.
don't know
I'm
doesn't
horrible.
love their mother.
I'm a mama's boy.
Yeah.
I call my mom every day. Every day.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Of course, I'm gonna make sure. Of course. So it was just short and sweet. It's just easy, man. It just happened that way, and I stuck with it, and it worked out.
It's really well. I'm glad for it. So going through your guys' records, you guys have both been real busy during the pandemic. Both of you guys have been writing a lot of music. A lot of the time you're working for other artists, to pay the bills, and also It's cool though. There's nothing. It's all cool, but you've had the opportunity to work on you. That's got to be kind of nice. Yeah. And I wanted to ask you guys, what does it feel like to build or learn about maybe your own musical tastes, endeavors, and everything, and focus on your own music exclusively?
Trevor, go ahead.
I mean, it's never really exclusive, but you almost have to. It's funny because you have to really force yourself to carve out the time for yourself. It's almost like backwards, because we're so used to working with other people, and you have to find that motivation. And it's like, if you're looking at music if you're looking at each individual person as a business, it's like when you're working for everybody else, that's when you're the employee. But then when it's your turn, you're owning the company. So a lot of people think they're cut out for it, but it's a lot more work and staying up late and first to arrive, last to leave. I'm going to go through the whole process again. It's like, listen, it's a different mindset. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's very rewarding when it happens. And, but it's not as easy as it seems, especially during this pandemic, because it was such a weird thing to interact with people. It was weird.
Right.
So were you doing it in a home studio, or were you guys going to a studio to do these albums that you guys were working on?
I luckily have a studio at my house, so it was able to, everybody got a studio with a laptop in 2021, though. You know what I mean? So, Starbucks studios, Coffee Bean studios.
Come on, man. Hey, Kinko studios, parking lot studios, parking lot interviews.
Yeah, why not? You know what I'm saying? So, it's just what it is. And one thing I'll say too, man, is that it is one of the better times to be an independent artist, because you can control everything just by yourself from the laptop. I can make a song on my phone and have it out to the rest of the world in 48 hours. That was really possible in the last, 10 years ago, or, I'm saying even more recent than that, it wasn't quite as direct as you can do it now. So, and as fast, and the quality being of a certain quality. So, it's like, it's an interesting time, because the pandemic took it a step further to where people are now that didn't think that it was important to know any of those skills or start making your own music. Now, all of a sudden, everybody wanted to start. The music retailers, the most popular music retailer right now is called, what's it called? Not Guitar Center, Sweetwater. It's called Sweetwater. Right. Sweetwater went through the roof during the pandemic because everybody was buying studios. They went crazy. They were already the biggest retailer of music, but they just increased the gap by just, so many times more business volume they did, because everybody was all of a sudden buying recording equipment and video equipment. And, because people realized, okay, I got to learn this. I got to do something to create something, because if I'm just the kind of person that's waiting for somebody to call me, you know what I'm saying? There's no calls happening. You know what I'm saying? And, it forced a lot of people to get, to hustle. Those of us that were already hustling before the pandemic, it wasn't quite such a thing, but a lot of people, they had to completely change the scope of their job description during this pandemic.
Right. And you know what? And to kind of piggyback off of what Trevor's saying right there, because I think that there were possibly a lot of people who probably thought that they were like one-dimensional people or artists or however you want to look at it. And so, and like what Trevor's saying is absolutely true. Like I looked at it like if you don't come, like I look at it like this, like if you don't come out of this having learned something, then shame on you, because really there's no, this was the great, this was, and to me, the you know, the a Renaissance Simon and a great reset. So I just said, okay, you know, I remember I started out like December, you know, I was just kind of going through a depression. I just said, you know what, Kenneth, you got to do something. So then it was like December 1st, and I said, okay, great. I'm going to do a Christmas album. I was like, okay, great. That sounds crazy. Do a Christmas album and try to have it done within 2-3 weeks time and release it. But I just said, look, if I can think it, then I can do it. And what blew me away, well, I think one of the greatest gifts is like, it's not even necessarily just releasing the music, but it's the lessons that you learn along the way. Like for me, like Trevor is much better historically than me at doing this, but it's like he's really good at like sharing, you know, music. And me, I was such in a mental place, like, is it good enough? Is it good enough? And then I realized that, you know what, all I can do is just what I can do. And I had to realize, it's like, what is my motivation for doing what I'm doing? And so in that, sometimes it's just like you just put your head in the sand, in the soil, you know, you just put your head in the soil and you just go. And you don't know everything that's going to happen. And so I'm just like, you know what, let me just put together the music the best way that I know how to do it. And the more I do it, the better I'm going to get. And when I reach out to people, it's like people are saying, hey man, I'll help you out with this. And that's the thing that's amazing to me. It's like, especially when you're an army of one, or you think that you're just an army of one, if you do something that's cool, and if you're cool to people, people are going to be helpful, and they're going to give you help along the way. So that's what I've been doing. And so I've been putting stuff out like every month, and it's all over the place. And I just said, you know what, I'm just going to put the stuff out there, and, you know, and let the chips fall where they may. And, you know, that's just kind of where I'm at with it. And it kind of gives me something to push towards. And there's so much to learn all the time. And then it's great, because then I can call up cats like Trevor, and I'll be like, hey man, you know, what about this and this and that? And he's like, man, okay, well, if you want to go ahead and get, you know, distribution, or if you want to do like artwork, here's where I go, you know, for artwork and this, that, and the other. And it's an exchange of ideas. So it's not like I have all of the information or he has all the information. Is we share it, because it's more to sharing than to hoarding, you know?
So have you guys working in the studio? So you're working with a Dr. Dre, you're working with a Lauryn Hill, you're working with a bigger name. Have you found like you thought the track was over at any point, and then they added just something else where you're like, oh wow, mind blown. I can't believe you put that right there. That was amazing.
I will say this is what I can say, and then I'll head off to Trevor. Art is never finished. Art is never finished, and it's ever evolving. And I think that when you're doing records, that you just have to get to a point where you just say, you know what, this is what this is, and on to the next, because there's always revisions in your head. So, and I remember an old manager telling me, he's like, people aren't going to know you for a song, they'll know you for a body of work. So I just said, you know what, let me just try to push along. And the thing about it is you like work on something, you need it like dough, and then you're on to the next. But of course you hear these brilliant sounds of Nirvana, not the band, but just of the idea of the Enlightenment. And it could be that I could work on something, I can hear something that Trevor's done, I'm like, oh my God, you know, that's really cool. Maybe I can tap into the spirit of that and see how I can apply that to what I do. Not a rip, but being enlightened and being influenced by everybody's brilliance. And, you know, and it's like, Trevor always has a great way of doing things. And it's not just the music, it's his sense of humor, and learning how to tap into all of those things is what makes for great art.
That's cool.
I think.
Yeah. And so what about you, Trevor? So you're in the studio with Dr. Dre. I mean, has he added something to a track you're working on where you're like, where the fuck did that come from? And wow, it's amazing.
Well, since you're using him specifically, I'll say this. Over there, it's all, I thought I knew what revision and refinement was, and I had no idea before I started working with him, over a decade ago. And I'll just say that he is very fluid. It's like, it could be the last moment of the last print of the mix, and it could be like, hey, let's add this. It happens. You know what I mean? And my thing is, I don't even put any of my emotions into stuff like that, or any of my thought process when it's not my situation. Like when it's my record, then I can deal, you know what I'm saying? But when it's theirs, like, man, I can't tell you how many records I've done, and I don't like what somebody's done to something I may have played drums on. Like I might have played drums on a record, and then it comes out and they did all kind of quantizing, but it doesn't sound the pocket that I intended. But guess what? That's not my thing. I mean, that's what they do. It's theirs to do that with after my job is done. That's their creative work, and whoever they put in charge to do that, the producer, if that's the choice he made, that's on them. I don't,
I think you got to think that way though, because they'll drive you nuts. You'd be like, why did you hire me? You got to work with.
Yeah, no, but see, that's ego though. That's ego. If you ever say that, unbeknownst to you, that's coming from a place of ego. It's like, well, what I did is this, and you changed what I did. So immediately that's coming from a place of ego. And like we say, your ego's not your amigo. That's one of our phrases. And so, it's like, that's a phrase we use over at Aftermath. And guess what? It's real talk though. And sometimes, look, we don't even know. So it's not that anybody's maliciously doing these things. Sometimes we don't even know that that's what's fueling those types of lenses that you put on certain decisions. Sometimes that's being fueled by ego. We don't even know. So I think with the constant evolution of music and evolution of us as humans, I think the other thing that we have to realize is that we're really learning how to understand our human psyche and our mind and the things that make us do certain things. And the people that master that tend to be the successful people, when you look back at everything.
Yeah. And it's a lot of work. It's the second thing. So you got to work with one of my favorite people. Lionel Richie, to me, is just, he's the tip top of the thing. And when I got to work for Guns N' Roses, for me, that was a big deal, man. I was so excited. Yeah. Please tell me you were excited. And like, how did it fulfill like all those things that you were hoping for? Because the guy's just such a beautiful person all around. I mean, he's such a good guy and he's such an incredible talent. It must have been very, very cool.
Well, I'm sure we both worked with him. So were you directing that at Kenneth first?
Sorry, I was directing it to you, and then I was going to load up Kenneth with somebody else pretty quick here.
I mean, of course, Lionel's the icon and the business icon and the icon songwriter. So with me, the thing I liked about it the most is that I was working with him in the capacity of writing music. It wasn't just playing drums. So I was going to be able to share copyrights with somebody of that magnitude.
Yeah, that's where I was going.
That was great. Yeah, man. It was like, that was amazing.
It's not the money aspect. It's the absolute straight coolness. I got to write a song for Darius Rucker, and it was just the neatest thing.
Oh, yeah.
To hang out with, Darius Rucker, and you're looking at, man, could this guy sing? Yeah, and when you see it in person, you're kind of like, I've seen a lot of guys, but when I saw that guy, I was like, holy shit, you're like really good. and you get that little kid in you, that excitement.
Yeah. I think to piggyback off of what Trevor's saying, what he's saying is absolutely right. I think that what happens, like Trevor and I, of course, we've known each other for years, and I think that what happens is, hopefully, if you're good, and we've been fortunate enough to make our livings and stuff doing this. Yeah. I think that if you're good and if you're paying attention, you're going to naturally grow. Yeah. And what he was saying about the ego and stuff like that, I will say this. Trevor definitely got it much faster than I did, like really knowing how to play the game from an intellectual game standpoint. And I've kind of learned it a bit later on. But along with that, I think that what it is, I was having a conversation with myself just around. What's that? What is that?
I'm being profiled this whole time, so I made the cops go around me. They were profiling me on Sunset for like 30 minutes, so I just finally drove so slow that they had to go around me. Sorry, continue.
Yeah. Well,
welcome to LA.
Yeah. Where black men can laugh about profiling and keep going. But anyway,
I went down to Carney's Deli the other day with Aaron Bullock.
Right.
And we had hot dog. I told him I've never been here sober. I'm like, I hadn't been to Sunset in like 20 years, man. I'm like, I didn't even know this was a train, Aaron.
Yeah. But what I was saying is, like I've been really like just like listening to like what's going on and stuff like that musically, and and I just had just a different way of looking at it. It's like, it's like, rather than me like complain and say, oh my God, well, this new music is terrible, and these just sound like the old dude at the club. Yeah. I just putting in my mindset, it's like, okay, how can I, with all this horsepower I supposedly have, how can I still communicate and reach people who may not necessarily have the same musical taste as I do, but how can I, with all that I know, how can I take myself out of it so that I can communicate and I can touch the heart? And that's a hard thing, especially when it's like, oh my God, well, I know Chopin, I know Prokofiev, and I know Stravinsky, and I know Fauré, and it's like, yeah, but that's cool. But it's like, but music and art, it's supposed to be about communication. Oh. So how can I make sure that I'm communicating and that people are really, that I'm making my point and really getting to the matter of the heart of people? And that's one thing that Trevor definitely is super great at. And I think that, he's super, super great at that. And in this pandemic, with me doing like these different types of albums, I'm like, man, like it's so much, like I'm barely scratching the surface, and I'm just like, man, it's so much to learn. It's the music and the art, it's never done. It's never finished. And if you're finished, if you think that you've arrived, then you're missing out. So I think that's what it's about, really, really taking yourself out of it and really getting to the real communication of talking to people's hearts. I think that's what it's about.
So, in that idea, so I love the community aspect, the family spirit, putting you guys together as a family idea. And music, the people, the enthusiasts, the people that work in the industry, it's like a big family. So if I'm not wrong, you went to high school with Lenny Kravitz. Is that right, Kenneth?
Lenny and I.
Were you saying Lenny went to high school with me?
No.
We're talking about ego. Okay. Anyway, sorry. Was that a little jab?
No, not even. No, Lenny and I, we had a mutual friend of ours that I went to church with, and I've known this guy ever since I was in high school, junior high school, and then he introduced me to Lenny, and so I met Lenny when I was in the 11th grade, and we used to jam together. And then cut to '89 when he did Let Love Rule. He calls me up and says, "Hey, Crouch, hey, can you come to New York for about a month?" And it was my first time to New York, and then that turned out to be a year, and that was my first time being on a major tour, first time going to Europe. We opened up for Tom Petty, and so that's how that kind of happened.
See, that's what I'm talking. That's what's cool is that, you know, you're in 11th grade. You play with the guy sometimes. I'm assuming you were playing piano with him.
Yeah.
Okay. And I mean, you must have been able to tell at the time this guy's really good, and I'm sure he's thinking the same thing about you. So you're jamming, you're having a good time as kids. But then it isn't that many years later where life circles back around, and this guy comes out that it's been your buddy, and next thing you know, you're traveling the world together. How cool is that? You know.
You know what? It is cool, and I don't know if Trevor feels like this way. It's like when you're doing what you're supposed to do, it's like sometimes you kind of sit back and like, oh my God, you know, I'm doing something cool. But it's like that was just those were just natural occurrences that were supposed to happen. So it wasn't necessarily that we were doing something so big. I mean, it was big, but it's just like it just happened.
Yeah.
You know, we were all cylinders were firing, and you know what? It's like me playing with Lenny. I look at that. It's just the same as me meeting Trevor at Blue Palm, and then working. You know, going there and
cool.
doing tracks and stuff like that. It's all just part of the experience. That's all that it is.
It's what I love about life is these just little, I went over to my buddy's house, and next thing you show up and we're playing, what is it, Disney songs on the piano, and his little 3-year-old's like, bravo, that was great. That's what it's about. It's about this. So you're traveling the world. So you told me a good story. I don't know if he knows this, Trevor knows this story, but we had talked about Kansas City. And then you and I started talking about Kansas City barbecue.
Yeah.
So, and I was like, what barbecue place do you think is good? And you're like, well, Gates BBQ. And I was like, oh, he knows what he's talking about. And then you went into a story. So I don't know. Let's see if Trevor knows this story or not. But it was brilliant.
Oh yeah, Trevor. I think I told you that I took when I was out with Eric on tour. I said, hey man, I'm gonna take you to this barbecue spot. So I took him to Gates BBQ.
Well, I didn't really know the story, but I didn't really know it. But I mean, Gates is my favorite place anyway. So if you're in Kansas City, you gotta go to Gates. I mean, when I was eating meat, you gotta go to Gates. I mean, I was just there. Matter of fact, I was just there. I guess that would be 19. Yeah, before everything went down. You know, my buddy Mike Elizondo was like, let's go to Gates. Plus, to get to Gates, you gotta pass the house that Charlie Parker lived in. So, you know what I'm saying? So it's historic. That whole area is historic. You feel me? You know, that's a very historic area. But I'm sure over the years I probably heard that story. I mean, because you got so many dang stories, bro. It's like, you know, you should put a book out of just stories. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, but yeah, man, that's what's up. No, that's a great story because that's an establishment place, black owned. They still there, and you know they still making burn ends. So you know there it is. Well, I bet you when I go back there, get sausage. I bet you they're gonna have vegan when I go back.
Of course. Hey, Trev. So check this out. So a person who gave. There's a woman that you and I both know, and Darkest Gates. I think she's one of the Gates. I can't remember if it was like the main Gates lady or whatever. She gave this person her start, like one of her first gigs. You know who that was? Brenna Whitaker.
Oh wow, interesting.
Yeah,
is she from Kansas City?
Yeah. She's from Kansas City.
Oh wow, interesting. That's crazy.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love Kansas City.
Wow.
The thing is, I went into, you can go into a little bar. You can go in a bar at midnight and you could just look like your world. I looked at the drum kit and my girlfriend's like, we're going to stay right here until these guys come back because they were taking a break. And she's like, wow, because this guy knows how to play drums. Just wait till you sit down because the instruments were nice. And you can see it was just a 3-piece, man. It was a 3-piece. These old guys, they came back. And oh my God, you're just watching like Wow. It's amazing. And you're in a little bar. You're just knocking, man.
Yeah. Trevor and I did that for a good 4 or 5 years. Was that Wednesday night, Trev?
Wednesday night, the Holly Street Bar and Grill, man.
Woo!
I'll never forget that.
Hey.
So we got so many people that came out of that, so many friends, so many, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, so many stories just from that period. Like, so many things, man. Every time I go to Pasadena, it's just, that's the vibe. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was the energy over there, man.
So
that
was
a lot of musicians now came up through there.
Yeah.
So you guys would play sets, and then like random people would come and sit in on the sets, or?
Everybody that was in LA at that time was pulling up. We had all kind of people pull up in there, from like, man, musicians, singers, whoever was around. It started being a thing. You know what I'm saying? It just started being one of those LA things, you know?
That's cool. See, when I was a kid,
even in this day,
we'd go to the Cat Club on Sunset, and that was all the rockers hung out. And you'd have, I don't know, Lemmy, you know, Lemmy would play there on a regular basis, and just whoever felt like getting up on stage. And it was a who's who of rock and roll, and everybody was just hanging out and playing. I don't know. I think whatever they felt like. It was really neat. It was a good vibe, man. It was real cool. Man.
Yep. Those are the days. Holly Street Bar and Grill.
Well, hopefully we get some of that stuff back again, and we can go out. Have you guys ever? So I'm going to be interviewing. We lost Kenneth.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Oh well. Oh, that's you.
He'll call back.
Yeah, he'll call back in a sec. So I'm going to be interviewing a street busker in a couple weeks. I'm real excited about it, man. This kid, he got 1 million hits on YouTube for covering this song, and I'm really into it because I think street buskers, that's a tough gig, man. You know, and I think it's kind of a thankless job. But have you ever tried to do anything like that? Have you ever thought, you know, I can't.
Not imagine. Really. I mean,
it's so tough.
Back in the day, I never did that. Back in the day, we used to break dance. That's about it as far as my street, you know, stuff. But there's some great drum guys, though, that play buckets and all that kind of stuff. Some incredible guys that do that stuff, you know.
I love those videos where they put these guys all around the world together and they play something, and you're watching these amazing street performers do their thing. And it's so much fun, man.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. And it's really good. So I got one. So I was trying to put together this podcast, and my friend's daughter, they're 5th graders. And I'm like, you know, what should I ask people? And so she goes, well, you should ask them when they first felt famous. But he's back. Let me in. So I'm going to ask him this one too, because I like it. So you there? Can you hear me? We'll wait for 2 seconds.
All right. Sorry about that. My phone opened it. Sorry about that.
Good.
So I was saying, my friend's 5th grader, and they said, you should ask people when they first felt famous. And I thought about it, and I kind of liked it, because you don't have to be a celebrity to feel famous. What was the first time in your life where you felt important, like you felt famous? What was the event, Trevor, where you felt like cool?
You know what? I don't know that I really felt like that. I've just felt like, okay, this is interesting. You know what I'm saying? When I think usually for a side musician, well, any musician really, a lot of that can happen probably like when you first start going to Japan, because they have a very fanatic type culture. Like, they're very interested in everybody playing. So they'll walk up to you with a picture just before the internet, to a picture from another gig or album, you know, for you to sign, like, and you're just a side man, you know what I'm saying? Like, so probably in Japan, you know what I'm saying? You know, when you go on certain tours with certain like artists like a Snoop or something like that, that's when you start seeing the rush in the cars and all that type of stuff. Kenneth, you know, he was out with Clapton and all that, so that's just like fandemonium, you know what I mean? That's like, you know, but for me, it's like, I don't feel like it's about me. It's just cool to be there. You know what I'm saying? Oh, dude, I know this sounds crazy, but Greg Fillinganes was calling me as we're on this call.
Now that's the rock star.
Yeah. Who's that guy?
Great feeling games. Oh, he just a keyboard player who played with this guy named Michael Jackson. Nothing really big.
I've never heard of that fella. It's kind of a common name, though.
Director from Jackson.
There's a whole bunch of those Jackson guys playing music, I hear.
Yeah.
So when was the first time you felt famous, do you think, man? What were you doing that made you feel like, I got something going here, it's kind of cool?
You know what? I don't know if I've ever felt famous. I mean, I'll say this. It's like when I'm out with my kids, my kids say to me, Dad, we can never go somewhere and people don't know who you are. I mean, I guess by virtue, like I've done a lot of things with a lot of people. So, you know, people who are kind of in the know who I am or whatever. Yeah. But I've never felt like, oh my God, I'm famous. I've never felt like that. I feel like I have a little bit of attention, but I've never.
I'm back.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good
stuff. I'm trying to factor him in, bro. I wanted to bring him in because the irony of him calling right when we're on the Clapton conversation after the word was said is pretty spectacular, bro.
Send him the link. He can hop on. We can go for whatever.
Yeah, no, it's not. No, that ain't gonna work. I'm driving through a weird area, and I'm just gonna focus on keeping this call. Yeah.
So what's it like when you tour with the Cloud? I've toured with some pretty big bands, and it was pretty nuts when you literally cannot leave the hotel because there's 10,000 people outside. And they watched you walk in. So
you know what? I think it really just kind of depends on the artist that you're with and the kind of energy that is out there. Like say for instance, right now, I think that like if we were to go out, say with like, I don't know, say somebody like Cardi B or somebody like that, I think that it would be like that whole pandemonium sort of thing. But with Eric, honestly, I mean, you got to think about it. I mean, he was an older artist then, and literally we would just go, we fly in, we come in to do the gig, maybe just line check or whatever. There'd be like the opening act, then we go on and do our thing, and then the next thing we're out and we're taking the plane and going back to where we hubbed or going back to our hotel. So I mean, it's never like, I've never been on a thing where it was, well, I think maybe Marc Anthony was probably where it was like, especially when we went to South America, it would be crazy, like 90,000 people.
Wow.
Or with Lenny, like in the early days, like 90,000 people at Roskilde, but it wasn't that like all the time. And I think, hey, Trevor, did you do?
He logged off.
Let me see. Yeah. We did.
Yeah, his phone disconnected.
Okay.
Hold on. He's back. Okay, and he's coming on, and you can ask him. All right, there you go, Trevor.
Okay, I'm back in civilization. I'm back in civilization.
I was trying to. So, Trevor, we did that thing with Jennifer at Angel Stadium together, right?
Who's Jennifer?
Lopez.
Okay, yeah, I just want to be clear. You know, there's a lot of Jennifers out there.
Right, and you know what? Right,
Jennifer.
Well, all the musical Jennifer. You know what? It's fun. It's funny because I realized, I said, "Wow, I've played with all of the musical Jennifers." So the musical Jennifers I played with. Yeah.
Hilarious.
They say which one? Well, I'm like all of them. So yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. The funny thing is, you're right. I think we did a couple other things, but definitely that one radio show's festival that they do.
Dude,
Zoo,
yeah.
E100 or Zoo or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was their festival. I remember that.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was crazy because remember, we didn't have any ears for like the first 2 or 3 songs.
I don't remember that, but it doesn't surprise me. One thing about that show I remember is that Abe Vogel was there playing with somebody, and a lot of people didn't know that he was on that first D'Angelo tour, Murdering, and he was playing with somebody else, and I was just sitting back watching him play because he doesn't get enough. But I remember that show, though. I remember that show, bro. We had our gear. We rehearsed all them doggone times. Everybody had laptops. That was one of the first times you started seeing everybody using laptops with what they did. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because we did and I think that we did a Today Show too, right?
Today Show. I know we did that show, and I felt like we did one other thing, but I can't remember.
Yeah, it was something. Yeah, it was something.
They used some of the footage. Some of the footage from that Today Show was in that documentary that came on HBO about Latinos. And they used some of that footage from the Today Show. And I was like, my wife, I said, "Oh, that's us."
Right? Yeah, yeah. That's the funny thing. That's the funny thing about what we do is like, you just never know. You just never know when it's going to show up again. You know. And you know what? But listen, you know, Joel. Really, here's what it is, Joel.
Sure.
Trevor and I, at the end of the day, we're journeymen. I mean, it's like we're supposed, and I say this with all humility. When you've been doing it as long as we have, you know, we're supposed to be good, and we're supposed to have some sort of, I'm not going to call it fame, but if you're good, people know who you are, and that's what it's supposed to be. I think that. If you've been
notoriety
doing it,
is the word.
What's that?
Notoriety is the word.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yep.
That's exactly it. You know, yeah. It's like we're not fame whores. We're just go ahead, Joel.
No, it's not a fame whore thing. I like the idea because it came from a fifth grader, and you know, for her, she felt famous because she won a book contest in her class because she read 3 books and she felt so good about herself. And I love the idea that it doesn't have to be, that you're in Japan and you got 1 million people watching you. It's just, I felt good. I don't know. This one thing happened. I felt so good. I sold the album and it made me feel so good about myself. And that's why I think it's kind of a fun question. And I got a question.
Sure.
We lost Trevor again, but I got a question for you. So I remember years ago, I had heard that Clapton was doing an album, and I feel like it was for Tower of Power, but I might be wrong. And he came in, and he had to do one, he was going to do a song. He was going to play on the song. And he told them that they had one take. So he played the song one time, and he played it perfectly. And he put the guitar back, and that was it. He left the building. And I can visualize that because the guy's such an accomplished musician. Is that as crazy as I think it is? Can you do that too?
You know what? I have done that. And I think that what that speaks of is when somebody really likes what it is that you do, then you're kind of given that leniency.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think it's our job. I think for me, it's my job to do the best that the music tells me to do. But like what Trevor said earlier, it's like I can have my idea of what the music is telling me, but at the end of the day, unless it's my name, unless it's my album or it's a collective, then I'm there to be of service to the song and to the artist and to what I'm doing, and to that. So perfect example. I don't know. Is Trevor there? I don't know if he's there.
He's back. Yeah, he's back.
I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here.
So I don't know if you know, Trev. Aloe called me up. Aloe Black called me up. I don't know. I guess it was like right before Valentine's Day. I played on a track, and then he's like, "Oh man, I want you to play on something else for me," and it was a duet with him and your girl Leanne. So
yeah, I know about that. I mean, I know about that song. Yeah, I know about that song. Yeah, that's hard.
So so basically, what Aloe asked me to do, he was like, "Hey, okay, I want you to play this. I want you to do a pass where you do exactly what the piano is doing, and then you do another one where you do your thing." And I think that when people know your work and that you can turn it in fast enough, stuff like that, it sounds good, that's when you get repeat business. And he was super happy, and paid the rate, and that's where I'm not even gonna say we're journeying. And, you know, it's like painting a house well. And so that's just another house that I was able to paint, you know, contribute on. And you know, it's out in the ether, and it's cool.
It's totally cool. So how many artists are there where you're really playing the piano and not them?
Trevor knows this story.
Yeah.
Ask Ringo. Ask Ringo.
Ask Ringo. Yeah.
There is a producer that Trevor and I worked with, and this guy, I played the piano track, and then the guy goes, "Well, since I guided you, I'm going to take a co-piano credit because I'm going to say that since I guided you, you know what I'm talking about, Trev, right?"
Hey man, he's my good friend, bro. Don't just say his name, but
no, I'm not.
At the end of the day, I'm gonna say like this, dude. I'm gonna say like this. It's always like that because if we get called for a session and there's a producer, I mean, that's usually what's happening is some sort of guidance of what they are communicating, what they want, the artist wants for the song. So some people say that, and then some people don't say it, but they still do it. And even if they don't say it, it's reflected in the business because you're getting a session rate and they're getting points on the record. So it's cool. I mean, he said it. He was just being upfront about it, to be honest, because realistically, the artist, you know, it's super hilarious. Or what about the time when you actually played an entire harpsichord part and barely closed the door from coming in the studio, and the artist came in and was like, "That's amazing," and the person never said you played it.
Hey, dude, listen. Hey, listen.
It wasn't nothing. He didn't throw no shade. But he didn't let the sunshine in either.
Hey, man, listen. And you know what? And I'm gonna tell you, Joel, that kind of stuff happens because it's like when you're in this business, like people talking like, "Man, what can you do so that people won't fuck you over or do shitty shit?" It's like that's part of the cost of being in this business. I mean, people do shitty shit, but when you're somebody who's like, I think that when you're good at what you do and great at what you do, like there is no way in the world that I would take a drum credit from Trevor because it's like that is what he does. It's like it doesn't edify me to take a credit that I didn't do, you know, and it makes me look better when I say, "Man, I'm lucky enough to have Trevor on my track." It's like, why would I dilute that and be like, "Oh yeah, well I did that too," and it's like, okay, all right, look, like. And I remember I told this person, I said, "Hey man, people know what it is I do." So I said, "If you want to do that, that's fine." And the credit
at the end of the day, man, it doesn't matter, bro. It doesn't matter because it always rises. Like you said, it always comes to the top, even if it's just in, you know, later projects that end up happening or a body of work. It always comes out in the wash. You know, the people that run the, you know what I'm saying? It's like a lot of times, man, it's like, and to that person's credit, it's like, listen, that person had more than one success. So it wasn't lucky, the one lucky one-hit wonder. So they actually had a formula too and had a skill set because it's hard to do it more than once when you get to a success. So, you know, so, you know, like I said, even going back to those stories and all that, the reality is, you know, that's what they're entrusted to do is just get it done at the highest level. So he may not, because he didn't say, "Oh, that was Kenneth that played all that piano." Listen, people saw somebody else there. They probably know he doesn't play piano on that level. So he's still getting his kudos for being the person that thought of calling a Kenneth. Right. You feel what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's the same difference, but it's funny too, though. It was a funny moment for sure. It was one of the funny moments. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think Trevor, like piggybacking off what you said, I think that when you start to get comfortable in your skin, and I think that when you let more of the ego go, it's like, I mean, it's like you know what the truth is. And it's like, you just say, look, hey, as long as your business is done and you're there to serve the music, that's all that you can do. That's all that you can do is be as honest to the art as you can and to keep it pushing.
We all just want to finish your work and go get the Misha's cheese.
Hey, listen. I forgot to talk about that because that's the thing that
cheese, man.
That's what brought us all together is Aaron and first of all, also Ian. And Ian, we've all recorded and done multiple gigs with Ian, who's actually a jazz bass player.
I heard.
He became this incredible vegan chef, and then they came up with this incredible idea, which is pound for pound, it's the best. Like, there's nothing even close to that. It's literally the most incredible cheese that I've ever had, especially vegan. So that's just a real thing, man.
Did you have the lox one?
I've had every one multiple times and continue to do so. My favorite is French Connection, and then the black truffle, the truffle one. But I've had the lox, the smoked cheddars are made. They're all amazing, man.
I'm a Jew. I gotta say the lox. It's just like otherwise.
Well, yeah, I mean, exactly. You gave it away right there with the schmear, but it's okay. It's okay. It's all right. My middle name is Ira. It's all good.
Oh, there you go. Right on. So I was just asking him, have you ever thought of doing a gospel album?
Come on, man. Thank you for that question. Thank you for that question. Please.
Well, you know what?
Yes. Come on.
Well, actually, I just put one out, like a solo piano one. I just put one out in February. That being said, Terrace and I are talking about doing like a duet thing where maybe I do like 3 of my uncle's songs and the 3 of Walter Hawkins songs, just because of course my uncle, but like Walter was such a huge influence on me coming up. So that is something that I want to do. And it's like, and I want to do it. And especially doing my uncle stuff, it's like, I want to do it right. So I want to do it right. And I want to do it on. So that is something that I want to do for sure.
It'd be cool. It'd be really cool.
Yeah, that's hard. Yeah, that's super dope.
That'd be super neat. Yeah. So cool. Well, maybe you guys can work on it together, and we'll be happy listeners because I would love to.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You know what? I'll tell you.
I just want. All I want is some writing credit for putting you 2 together. It's not a lot. I'm not asking for a lot.
Wow.
I don't need a bunch of anything.
Now that is hilarious. Yeah. That's hilarious.
Yeah, he coached the idea.
Yeah. I'm just saying. Time is money. It's an hour and a half here. It's an hour.
Yeah, but it's all good.
Guys, let me tell you something. I'll stay on, but I'm definitely going to go over Malibu Canyon. I definitely feel like I'm going to lose the call. So
you're lucky because we're just getting to the tough questions. These are.
Oh, okay. Well, we got about 3 more minutes before I hit this part where the phone's going to go out. So
all right, Kenneth,
I don't know.
Ask him a good question, Kenneth. You got 3 minutes.
Oh man, bro, man. Hey man, you know what?
I'll come over in this parking lot real quick.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Man,
you can go. You can keep talking.
Oh man, what's the good question? The good question.
Talking about Lionel Richie, man. I love Lionel Richie. I love Lionel Richie. Wow. I can't believe you got to write with Lionel Richie. You have no idea how cool that is to me.
Well, not even just write with him, like talk to him, bro. Like that's the other thing. I mean, I got a picture where I'm flambeing Bananas Foster at 3 a.m. with him. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like he's just a real nice guy. Oh, the ice cream place is gone. Wow, it's gone.
Where? Are you talking about Grom?
Yeah, I didn't know Grom was gone.
Really?
Wow. It's gone, bro. They made it a Marmalade Cafe, bro.
Oh, that's whack.
You guys have those? Do you guys get those? It's. They're called it's or like little ice cream sandwiches.
No, I haven't had those.
Oh, I gotta treat you, man. Maybe okay, we're gonna do it. We'll have some. It's. There's these ice cream sandwiches and they're bomb. So good.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they'll be.
Kenneth, what is? I mean, I don't really. I mean, nothing else with Lionel of as far. I don't really have any other stories. I mean, he was just super cool, and
I'm just giving
you know what I'm saying, like. No, he's just. I mean, and then I ended up. I also way later, like that was 2004. And then 2018, I actually did the Grammys with him in a little tribute, like the tribute section, and he was one of the singers, which was very cool. It was a tribute to him. And then he came on at the end, and, you know, we saw each other, and we got this running joke where whenever I see him, I just say, Bananas Foster. And then it's just, we know what it is.
Right.
You know, but, you know, and Chucky is right-hand man. You know, that's one of the homies right there.
Right.
Another great musician and early innovator, like early making his own records and all that kind of stuff, you know, in the late 80s. You know what I'm saying? That's Chucky Booker.
Yeah,
so, you know.
Record now, too, Trev.
Yeah, I know. I saw it to post the other day. That's good.
Yep.
You know, and all those guys going to be killing. So, you know, like I said, you know, it's like, man, at the end of the day, you know, it's just one of those things, man, where that was a great experience, man. I'll never forget it. You know what I'm saying? Never forget it, bro.
Well,
so, I did him. I played with him. I did. Chucky called me up because I guess he was out of town, and I did Dancing with the Stars with Lionel, and then I said,
nice.
I said, Lionel. I said, you don't know me. I said, but I think you know my uncle. And then, you know, I said what my uncle was, and he's like, man, he goes, your uncle. I remember he was really nice. He goes, your uncle is the chaplain of the music industry. He's like, man, please let him know that I said hello. Yep. So that was nice, you know. And I think really
he's a brother, man.
Say what?
No, he's a real solid brother, man. He's a good guy, man. Lionel is. He's a good guy, man.
He's a good guy.
Joe, at the end of the day, really what it is, and I think Trevor would probably attest to this too. I mean, honestly, it's just like what it is. It's like, I think the name of this game is really loving and enjoying every experience that you have, because all we have are moments and memories, and sometimes you don't realize how great of a memory it is until like later. So I think that's it's like being like I'm grateful. Listen, I'm grateful to be on here, and then how you put Trevor on, because I mean, Trevor could have been like, oh man, I don't no.
We got you though. We got you. You didn't know.
I had no idea. I said, man, the number looks kind of familiar. And when you said Trevor Lawrence, man, I could do nothing but laugh. I mean, we've got stories from us in the Bahamas with Mariah, you know, with Brandy.
Man. Yeah. And the golf tournament. I think about it. I literally just booked our vacation to Hawaii last night, and the only thing that was on my mind was when we was out there with Marc Anthony doing that golf. Remember that golf tournament with Marc Anthony in Hawaii?
I remember going to Hawaii, but I can't remember what the gig was.
That was the only gig. Remember when I had the sub? That was the gig. That was the one gig where I had to learn the music, and when that was the gig. It was the Sony golf tournament. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I don't remember what year that was, bro. That was like probably 2004 or 5, maybe. It was like before Jennifer, so it was like 2004, maybe.
That sounds about right, because I was still married.
Yep. Were you drinking margaritas by the pool with Mariah Carey when you were married there?
Oh, no, Mariah. You know, okay, so we had a joke. So Mariah, her drink was Pinot Grigio. So remember that? so our joke was, are we greasing today? Are we greasing? Remember that? Yeah. Remember that, Trev?
Oh, bro, listen, man. Yeah, it was. Hey, man, it's tricky, bro. Because you know I'm part of that other camp, and then that song came out, and then I did the rebuttal. It's tricky for me to talk about that whole situation with her because, you know, it runs a little deeper. But yeah, she definitely was breathing for sure.
I don't even know what story you're talking about, but it's all good.
I can't. Okay, good. There. Thank you. All right, wonderful. So yeah, man, but that's the story. I mean, no, it don't. Hey, listen, it don't matter to me. Remember, she put out that song, and it said it wasn't about M. Remember that?
Oh, right.
I work with M, so I'm a part of the rebuttal that you can go see on YouTube. You can go hear it on YouTube.
Right.
And it didn't cover so well. Like, he didn't really like that, and he really went at her because he's a brilliant, you know, writer and rapper. So, you know, that was weird to just be on both sides of that like that. Like, you know, I didn't do the song that she did, but just having worked with her, and then it was just weird, bro. But that's how it happens sometimes. I ride with M all day, every day, because that absolutely was her trying to diss him. And I don't see why try to lie about it? It's obvious. You put out a whole video dressing like him. Like, what do you mean it's not about him? Come on.
Hey, man, you know, people getting their... It's all good.
And the irony also was we were in Hawaii working with M, and that was the hit at the time. So every car ride to the studio, we're hearing the Mariah song. That was the other irony that was so hilarious, to where it finally was like, you know what? Let's just go. Let's do it. And that's when we did it. Boom. Because we were just so sick of hearing that song. I think he finally was like, hey, man, let's do a rebuttal. So, yeah. That's an interesting story, but you know, that's real. That's reality, bro.
Yeah. That's funny.
So, what's it like for both you guys to play with Stevie Wonder? And I ask this because he played with your family. You know, he played with the generation before you guys. Is it more intimidating? Is it really cool that you're part of like this multi-generational thing? What's it like sitting with that guy? You know, and you cannot not be a fan. Anybody in the world, he's just so amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But what's it like? Because it's an opportunity when I assume you get the call or whatever happened to transpire. Tell me how you met him. But where you get to play with somebody who your dad played with, you know, that's got to be really cool. It's got to be a magical experience.
Well, Kenneth, you want to answer that or?
Yeah, it's both you guys. I mean, it's really a cool thing.
Yeah, go ahead, Trev. Go ahead. Go ahead. Take that.
Well, I mean, for me, it's different because he's been in my family, like, you know, for many years. So my grandfather was one of his influences. So I've seen him with my parents working with him, and all that stuff was great. But the thing that was crazy is none of that. I didn't work with him until Natural Causes when I was like damn near 30 years old. So it was cool because I just literally had worked my way up in LA and my name came up and it just worked out. Of course, you know, he knows who I am since I was a baby and he's my godfather, but it wasn't like we're close. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it was crazy because I got to record with him on his last album. So that was great. And then we played many gigs and tours, but that one show for those million people in Philadelphia, where my family is from, my mother's from there, to play with him in Philadelphia at that moment, I'll never forget that for the rest of my life. And I've never played in front of a million people ever again and probably won't. So, you know, it's like, you know, that was a spectacular moment. And, you know, you learn a lot playing with him. You see the genius. And, you know, listen, it was just another one of those bucket list things that you could check off as a musician. And look at how many generations he's worked with of people. You know what I'm saying? If you really think about that, you know, he had Dizzy and like, you know what I'm saying? Like, think about it. He had Dizzy and Herbie played on Az. It's like, dude, that's crazy, man. You know what I mean? So, you know, not Dizzy didn't play on Az. I'm just saying Herbie played on Az, but I'm just saying they've done so many things. He's just been through so many generations. So, you know, Stevie's a bar, bro. Anytime you get to play with Stevie or be around him, it's just going to be a bar for you to learn something in your life and your career. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's certain people like that.
Did you make him the banana flambe or? You get any of that?
No, negative on that. No, negative on that. I gotta say that was a big negative. But
are you
definitely,
really that
man, like
are you really that good of a cook? You're a good cook for real?
I cook. No, I cook. I've been busy lately, but I literally cook for real. And like, you know, yeah, I mean, I definitely cook, but you know, it's just been a little different now. You know, I've been busy and it's just a different time. But I definitely could cook, and I got that from my grandfather, but it's a tradition that I try to uphold, and, you know, it's just one of those things, man. So, you know, Stevie's a bar, bro. That's you know, you never forget that. And, you know, living out here in L.A., to be honest, sometimes it gets treated too casually, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because so many generations of musicians that are still alive worked with them. So sometimes in certain circles, it feels like, oh, yeah, Stevie, like it's not a big deal. But, man, that guy's one of the ones. He's one of the ones. Like, if you had to go through 10 of all types of music and genres together, he's still going to be in that 10.
Yeah,
with the Beatles and the Rolling Stones and the Yo-Yo Ma's and you know what I'm saying? He's still going to be in the overall conversation. So, you know what I'm saying? It's different, man. Like, that's one of them ones. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Is Ebony and Ivory a thumbs up or a thumbs down?
I mean, listen, man, it's a classic, man. That's a classic, man. You know, today, I think that would, if they did that today, it might all be canceled, bro. So that was only for that time. If somebody tried to do that today, you're getting canceled. Joe Piscopo would be all bad.
Hey, what he says, what Joe Piscopo said, you are blind as a bat and I have sight. That shit was fucking
you're my
amazing.
amigo. You are my amigo negro. That's over. You're over at that point. If he said that and it's over. At the time, all of a sudden, Twitter, ladies and gentlemen, we've canceled Joe Piscopo. He just said Negro on Channel 4. They're rioting at Channel 4. It's all over for Joe Piscopo. So, yeah, I mean, that happened at the time that it could happen, bro. I don't think that could happen nowadays.
That's true.
What about you, Kenneth? So what's it like working with Stevie Wonder when he's worked with, you know, so many people?
You know what? So I remember... So the one time that I really remember, like, us playing together, he came to the Sofitel, Trev, and he came to a night that I would co-host with a mutual friend of me and Trev, and I saw him out of the periphery of my eye. One thing about Stevie is that he really is a musician's musician. Like, he'll come and hang and listen to music like all night. He's like one of those kind of guys. It's like, and so he came up, and the next thing I know is like, I saw the whole thing unfold, and then his handler whispered in my ear, goes, "Hey man, Stevie wants to know if it's cool to come up and play." And then we were playing, what were we playing? I think we were playing Caravan, and dude, and what I saw, Trev, is he had his dashiki and he had probably about 5 or 6 harps, you know, just in all these pockets. So he's like picking out the harp to see what key he's going to go in. And dude, and when I tell you, he absolutely destroyed everybody. Oh my God, dude, we were playing like Caravan super fast, and he was killing. And then I think the nicest compliment that I think we did like My Sharia Moore, something like that. And then I just said, "Hey, do you want to play?" He goes, "Oh, no, you go ahead and play." And then that was nice. And then they go to his car and they get the arpeggi. And man, I'm gonna tell you, it was like there was like phone. It looked like Christmas time in on the Champs-Elysees. It was just like lights were everywhere, and people were just like videotaping. And it was like, you know what? This is why we do what we do. Like, we had no idea what was going to happen, and then he showed up, and that was cool. Like, like Wynton Marsalis showed up, another time. And we just, listen, it's like you do it because you love it, and the money is just the byproduct. So yeah, so that was my little Stevie story. And, and it was fun, and to have to know that he just respects you just as a musician, that's the biggest payoff to me right there.
It's a huge compliment.
Yep.
It's a big deal. I mean,
it's huge.
Because he came out with his first album when he was 12, 13. I mean, he was really young.
Something like that.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing stuff.
Absolutely.
Well, guys, I really appreciate it. We're welcome to keep talking, but this guy's got to get home, man.
No, it's all good.
Well, no, I mean, it's not even home. It's not even home now. It's just like dinner. We're trying to figure it out, but I'm trying not to drop the call. So we're in a little bit of a quandary here. But no, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you having me. And and with Crouch, you know what I'm saying? It's all gravy, man. And, at the end of the day, man, we're going to keep on keeping on, man, and see what else happens in the rest of this life, bro, after this pandemic.
Absolutely. Yep. It's a great time to be alive. It's a great time to be a creator, And I don't know if you've heard Trevor's works that he does, man, but, man, Trevor's got some amazing music. Awesome. So,
I listen to both of you guys on Spotify here all week just to try and get my feet wet and stuff.
Oh, cool, man.
Dude, you guys come
cool, man. Thank you, bro. Thank you.
Such good stuff. And you said it in the beginning, it's so accessible now. I could write a book and stick it on Amazon myself. Someone asked me today, I did a couple of interviews today, and they asked me, did you think about getting a publisher? Why? What the hell is a publisher going to do for me? And it's the same with your CDs.
Right.
What are they going to do for you? They're not going to do nothing. You might as well do it yourself. But what's cool is you can now. You can upload it. You can do some marketing. You can write to people. You can add Facebook groups and stuff. It's a great time to be an artist. It's a fantastic time.
It absolutely is. And I think, especially with things opening up now, I think that you're going to see a lot of artists that maybe you might not have seen if it was like 2 years. Yeah.
It's a fantastic time.
Yeah.
You're going to be an artist. You're going to start drawing pictures for me, right? You said it was going to be your other career. It was only an hour ago. You told me that it was either start painting or play the piano. So maybe.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because when you're a creative, I mean, you learn that you do more than one thing. So one thing that you may not know about, there was a show of great acclaim that was around for a hot minute, hosted by the incomparable Trevor Lawrence, called Beats and Eats. And
dude, it was just a pilot, bro.
Hey, dude, but
it was a pilot.
But it was cool though. So Trevor,
this is getting. Keep going. You can keep talking. Because my thing is, I'm going through the mountain. My phone's going crazy. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
Getting tricky for
Trevor
me
Lawrence for president. That's what it all comes down to.
I appreciate you guys. Hey, I appreciate you guys. And you know what? We could do it again another time. Whatever. I'm cool. I appreciate you guys having me, and I'm getting ready to go through the canyon. I'm gonna lose you guys.
So I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for bearing with us.
All good, man. Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Enjoy your dinner.
All right, Trev.
Okay. All right. Okay. Peace. Later.
All right, now.
What a cool guy, man. What a good guy. You're a really good fella. Just because. So I'm going to ask you a couple direct questions because we got a couple minutes. If you're totally over it, we can finish up. But you've got to work with some of the most beautiful women in the world, man. Vanessa Williams was literally Miss America, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, dude.
Yeah.
And then you got Mariah Carey. And it was funny, the other day I was like, dude, Mariah Carey, she's so gorgeous. And you kind of got this big brother look and you're like, hey.
No. I don't even know what look. You know what, man? You know what? When you've been doing this for as long as we've been doing it, I mean, you know what? We have a joke that's it's like act like you've been somewhere before. So, it's nice when when somebody who is like a big, well-known person really respects you for what you do. And I remember actually the 2 times that I've been on Oprah was because of Mariah. So
cool.
I did these things,
you do
and
on
Mariah
Oprah?
and I,
what were you doing on Oprah's show?
Mariah and I, we wrote this song. But Oprah would do like these dreams come true type things for people, make your dreams come true. And she and Mariah were really tight. And I did both of those shows. So we had like a kid who won like a contest, and then we wound up writing and producing a song. And actually she re-released that song last year. So yeah, I mean, it's just, listen, when somebody, like, I think a lot of times people look at the money, and you know what? I mean, the money, yeah, it's cool, but the money gets spent. And you know what? And the thing about it is, I get to have the great stories of, like hanging out with her and going to church with her and being in a limo, just me and her talking for hours and stuff like that, and writing. I mean, that's real, like how you and I are talking. That's really what it's about. Like,
yeah,
like how we were talking about another person that we were talking about, who has like a big podcast. We spoke about that a few minutes ago. I mean, yeah, the person's a big name, and it's really about all of the stories that person has, So
yeah.
imagine being an engineer, like engineering all those podcasts, and it's like you're a fly on the wall, and you can be like, oh yeah, I remember this story. And the funny thing about when we did that podcast, it was like, like the backstory that nobody else would know. That's what life's about.
Yeah,
it's about
our
the
legacy.
backstory.
It's our the stories is what makes life a little bit of fun. It makes you cool.
Absolutely, without
really
question.
Good.
Yeah,
Can you
without
imagine
question.
all the stories your uncle had? I mean, after all those years,
Man, he told me stories, and the stories he told me, I mean, that I don't know, probably a thousandth of the stories that he had.
Everybody. I mean, did he ever tell you anything about like Miles Davis? I love Miles Davis.
Somebody else told me some Miles stories. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, listen, when you're doing stuff on this level,
yeah,
I mean,
everybody.
I mean, you just like look, you meet people, but it's not just about meeting the big person. It's like, it could be that, oh my God,
cooler, it's the guy you don't know his name, but he's the greatest
right, or the guy who's going to blow.
There is. He's the guy. He played on it all. That's cool.
Like me doing this with you. I mean, look, it's no telling what this was going to come out of this. It could wind up being that, oh my God, the early podcast that you do. I mean, it could be that. So I think it's being present in the moment and just being grateful that people want to talk to you, and that people want to converse with you, and that people want to share, because that's really what the shit is about. Yeah, honestly,
man. It is. It's chat.
Yeah, absolutely.
You think your uncle would be proud of what you've done musically?
Oh, I you know what? I know that he would be, and I know that he is, and he expressed it to me, and I think that it's my job, like the way he was proud of me, to be proud of my son, of my nephews, and also like the young lions that are coming up. It's like, man, it's like I get so excited when I hear these guys play. I'm just like, man, it just lets you know that life and art and music, it keeps going. It doesn't stop. So
yeah.
So
I'm glad you said that, man. I was really hoping that's how you answered.
Because cool. What I know is that I am not the end all be all, and I am just forging ahead so that I can be the best citizen of the universe that I can be.
Well, I hope you keep writing albums, because I, for one, really enjoy listening to them.
Well, man, thank you, man. And
I got a birthday coming up next month. I'm going to send you an invitation.
All right.
You got to come over. Yeah, we got to get Trevor to make some of that banana flambe now that I gave him a hard time.
Man, and let me see, because you're doing a chili thing, right?
Dude, we're doing chili cook-off. Yeah, so you got to come over.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it's gonna be great, man. We're doing it. We're doing it on May 15th. May 16th is my birthday, but we'll go into the.
All right.
And,
okay, so
can't have too many people.
You're a Taurus.
I'm a Taurus. Yeah, we won't have too many people because of the pandemic stuff. But I'd love for you to be one of the guys to come hang out. We'll have some really good chili.
Yeah, and I will have had my second vaccination. I get my second one on April 24th, so I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, pretty much. I think everybody here will have done it by now. I mean, finally now it's a little bit of where people can. Before it was more difficult. So finally, we'll be able to be healthy and have some
sweet.
Really good food, and then you can tell me that Eric Clapton Gates BBQ.
Yeah, so man.
Funny. It's not even a story. It's just like, did he like the barbecue? And it's like, oh man.
Wait. So let me tell you the story. Tell me the story. So I'll tell you the rest of the story. So we're eating, and he's eating like he's never he's eating like he never ate food before. And I said, you like it? He's like, oh, Kenny, it's great, man. Every day after that, he went there and he goes, hey man, I got a surprise for you guys on the plane. So how we traveled was we traveled by private jet. So he's like, okay, I got a surprise for you guys. And I'm like, okay, cool. So we finished the gig, because what would happen is they would be like, okay, what do you guys want to eat for dinner? So it would be like, whatever, And so on the flight out of Kansas City to wherever we went, on the plane, he had Krispy Kreme and Gates BBQ on the plane. That was such a surprise. So that was like a coronary angioplasty waiting to happen, but it was good. Man.
It's so good.
Super good.
And all the people there, they had no idea who he was, and they didn't care, right?
Oh no, because it was. Oh yeah, I mean it was cool. So we had a great time, man. That's really nice. I mean, to me, I think that's the fun thing when you can have somebody who has seen the world, and you can turn them on to some shit that they don't know, and then you're part of that memory,
Totally. Yeah, totally. Well, you introduced them, and I mean, yeah, that's what it's all about, a little bit of
it is. It's about communication. It's absolutely. Without question.
I felt like when I toured, it wasn't just playing the songs. It was the whole part of it all. It was going to see the Eiffel Tower. It was going to see the different audiences and getting to know the cultures. All places I would have never gone. I would have never gone to do it.
Right. Yeah. So, we are really fortunate creatures, man. We really, really are.
We totally
are.
And
I'm fortunate that I got to meet you, because it's like Aaron's a quality cat, you're a quality cat, and the thing about it is, I don't know where this union will take us to, but to me, it's an honest amalgamation of life. And so whatever's supposed to happen after this, it'll happen. For that, I'm grateful.
Yeah, all the fun of it. Do you have any tours lined up right now?
Man, you know what, man? Honestly, I don't right now, and I'm kind of cool with that. I'm just trying to figure out some other things that I want to do, like really concentrating more on writing and just like really getting into that, and so yeah, I just want to do worthwhile art, and I just want to continue to do worthwhile art.
Well, it's important in life to spend some time getting to know yourself again, and then all these guys are going to go on tour. I mean, everything's going to get real busy. I'll bet. I'd be really surprised if Lenny Kravitz didn't do another tour. He's a younger guy; he could totally do it.
So. Yeah, and like for me, like, look, I call myself a young older man, so I'm down for. Like, I want to tour the way that I want to tour. Yeah. I want to travel the world and be there with people that I really dig and people that I really want to be around. I want to do stuff like that. I want to be around the people I want to be around. Like honestly, like how me, you, and Aaron hung out the other day. I want it to be where I just say, hey, listen, you guys, I'm going to be in Iceland for a month, fly out. I've got a 9-bedroom Airbnb and a chef, come and hang out. You do your podcast. Aaron does his stuff. That's the way that I want to travel now. I want to do stuff like that.
It would be fun, or will be fun. I shouldn't say it.
Yes, there you go.
We should totally do that kind of stuff. I'm in. You let me know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for giving me your time today, and thanks for
having me, man.
to your buddy Trevor that I got to know here. I look forward to meeting him and spending a lot more time drinking. What was it? That the Thelonious Monk beer?
Oh, right. Yeah, that was good.
That was really good. I got to get some more of that. And
so we'll do. So besides the beer, what is your spirit? What is your alcoholic beverage of choice? So I can bring it to the party.
I'm just a beer guy, really. I know Aaron's very into his scotches and stuff. So
well, you know what? But this is your celebration of you. So
I just want everybody to be happy. I like it when everybody's like, "This was great."
Right on, man.
So, yeah, I'm a happy guy, but no, don't even worry about that. Yeah, we'll do chili and we'll do cornbread.
Woo! There you go.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right, my friend. I'll bug you soon, and thanks for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thanks very much.
Bye.
Have a great night. All right, now. Peace.
Yeah.